Yeah, hello. We're gonna find out who put Sorry.
Don't die before you do. Like
Yeah. Sorry. Who put the cloak on the bust? You wanna know who it was?
It was... Fool! Him? The ringmaster, I'm assuming?
Yes.
You were saying it was the victim himself? Also Barry?
That's what I'm saying.
The victim himself placed the cloak on the bust?
Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it.
Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright? Explain yourself! Nick, do you really have a handle on all this?
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I could paint anyways. Alright, so you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. He then attached that rope to the bust, and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window, directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room, and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house, by none other than the ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trilo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim,
You wait just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this isn't true. It can't be.
it's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. This circus isn't over yet.
What? It just flops off and magically attaches itself to the...
It just happened to land on it. The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust.
Wow.
That impact also caused a sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Moe Curls, the clown. When Moe looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went and pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Moe saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it, primarily because, in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out the window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that is how a magical murderer disappearing in the night sky came to be. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro. It can only have been you.
Acro's been playing mind games with all of us.
He sure has. But he has come to the end of his rope now.
Ooh. So...
What now?
You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But, do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true? Evidence? In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip. Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence? Nick, they say they want evidence.
I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But there's still something unusual about Moe's eyewitness account.
Unusual?
A contradiction, actually.
Okay then, use that and get out of this jam.
Enough. That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to use this magic case.
It's not the bust again, is it?
Maybe?
So what is the evidence that we need to prove that he, I guess, orchestrated this?
It might be the bust again.
Try again.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
You gonna load?
I didn't save, so
Oh.
I wasn't able to.
Nick, is there no evidence? What was the contradiction we found in Moe's?
The silk hat? Okay, I'm gonna save again right here because it's closer. Ooh. Okay. The problem is Max's 3 symbols. Okay, there we go. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses?
Those symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings.
Yesterday, there were 2 contradictions in Moe's testimony.
The silk hat was one, the white roses were the other.
But in theory, I just presented examples of all these contradictions.
You fool! Do you ever shut up?
Max's silk hat was found on the scene of the crime. However, remember what Moe said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Moe saw was actually the bust's.
Okay. Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Fine, you've got one, but what about the other contradiction?
The other contradiction?
Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses. I would like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick? The cars, they're white, made of platinum, they're super shiny. With the snow and everything, they would look white.
But he didn't see the white roses. And the reason is because it was on backwards.
Oh, yeah, they're...
I can explain that. Please recall the incident when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? Do you get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, that means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Which explains why Moe didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust.
Order! Order! This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads.
Let's do this, Nick. Maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel. Well, so much for that theory.
Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track.
Again,
why is that?
motive is the key thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Motive. This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this. Thus, there is absolutely no way something like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Akro's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life up until now. What do we do? There's no doubting that Akro deeply respected the ringmaster.
Akro's motive.
It seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel this is a good place to take a break. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingley's testimony after recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.
So he's to wrap his head around the fact that it was actually the disabled guy that killed the ringmaster, not, you know, somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay, so... I still think it's really stupid that the box was the like thing that I don't know was like the
like
signal.
Yeah.
I was really counting on it being the light. I know that sounds stupid, but like that.
I mean, the only
that to me makes more sense. That it was just a
I mean, it does kind of make sense, but we had like zero evidence for any like, lights or anything. Nothing to present.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, Acro. It's pretty shocking, isn't it? It definitely is. I always thought he was the most straightforward of the group. Jeebus, am I that hated?
Acro tried to pin the murder on you on purpose.
He did? Psst, psst. But, I'm nothing but a little old nobody, you know?
But you're not, which is kind of the reason why...
Oh, that's...
Hey, pal! You gonna ignore me after I went to all the trouble to bring you some evidence?
Detective Gumshoe.
Forget it. I'm going home. This guy deserves to be guilty anyways.
Now, Detective. I'm sorry. Look, why don't we just relax a bit? We've got some really tasty milk.
We've got some really tasty milk?
Oh, sorry, that was mine, yeah. How about a card trick, Detective?
Well, if you insist.
Now about that evidence you mentioned. What is it?
Here you go.
Huh? This was yesterday in Acro's room.
Yep, and I've included the forensic results. Take a look at it later.
Won't Miss Von Karma be mad that you're doing this?
That's why this is all a secret.
Huh?
Look, details are on a need-to-know basis, and we're not really allies or anything. But everything that's happened in court up until now has gone according to our plan.
I don't know. Miss Von Karma didn't seem in control of things in there just now.
You'll figure it out eventually, pal. Yesterday, our final plans were set into motion.
Final plans?
That reminds me. I've got a message from the prosecutor for you. Nothing is ever truly decided until the very end. That's it. And that's it for me too, pal. I'm out of here.
What do they mean by that? The very end part?
I'm not sure. It was all pretty cryptic to me.
Oh, one more thing.
Don't scare me like that.
It looks like there's a large care package from the circus for the defendants.
What?
That's me.
Sorry.
What? For me?
It's milk. The reception area looks like some kind of dairy. So hurry up and drink it all before it spoils.
An entire dairy's worth of milk? For me? I'm like slipping out of in and out of his accent.
I'm sorry, but I'm just imagining giant 70-pound barrels, and they say it's milk, but it's really
just horse scum.
It's just a white substance. It's.
We went back to the horse scum, did we?
I'm sorry, that's all I can imagine right now.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's a completely stupid thing, but you know we were talking about it earlier, and like white substance. I'm sorry.
Jeez. At this point, that was like a few episodes ago. People have gotta remember that from like.
We record these in bulk.
Yeah.
Anyway, court is now back in session.
Oh my goodness.
Eagle to the lab. Rescue. Sort of.
She's so silly.
She had to rescue a lot from being cold.
I guess. No. Anyway.
I already said that line. So.
Oh, sorry.
Miss Von Karma, please continue from where you left off.
I'd like to continue with Acro's testimony, starting with his relationship to the victim. I'd also like to get proof from the defense. Proof of what kind of motive Acro would have to commit this crime.
Understood. Now, Mr. Dingling.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please proceed with your testimony.
Finally, we get to the motive. Wait, Nick? Are you okay?
Just do me a favor, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Well,
when we were little, we were abandoned by our parents. That's when the ringmaster of Barry's big circus, Russell Barry, took us in. And I became an acrobat at around 9 years old. I wanted to find a way to repay the ringmaster, and that was my sole purpose in life.
You're such a thoughtful young man.
as you heard, the witness deeply respected the victim. I wonder how anyone could think that Acro could kill the men he held in such high esteem.
You are absolutely right.
Excuse me.
How could anyone think that, Mr. Wright? Which is why there's no real need for a cross-examination, is there?
Actually, that's the question I'm trying to answer myself. Why would Acro kill the ringmaster?
The only thing I keep thinking is Regina. She's connected to this, obviously. Maybe he wanted vengeance on her?
An interesting theory.
Well, in an accident, she took away one of his most loved ones, his brother. So maybe this is his idea of revenge, taking away her dad?
Possibly. Of course I'll cross-examine. The defense is right to cross-examine the witness.
You're so tactless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You don't care about justice, do you? You just want to fabricate a motive.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Cross-examine the witness.
That's the only one I can think about he wants to get back at, other than... Because he doesn't seem the type to be jealous about Regina, against Max or Ben. That seems kind of like their thing that he just doesn't care about.
Matter of fact, he doesn't really seem to like Regina all that much.
Right. So, again, more motive that he doesn't like her already to begin with because of the accident. This is his way of getting vengeance about that because he has some unresolved feelings. That's the only person I can think he's trying to, the only reason he would kill the ringmaster is because it's connected to her.
But what does she have to do with the accident, though? Wasn't it Bat's idea to put his head in the law?
But she was the one that put him up to the dare, and also she's the animal tamer, so theoretically it should have been her keeping the lion in check. That would have prevented him from, chomping anybody.
Fair. Yeah. We? Yes, my brother Sean and I.
What? You have a brother?
How old were you when this happened, Acro?
I was 8 years old, and my brother was 4.
Your parents were very cruel, weren't they?
Nowadays, we aren't bitter about what happened to us, because it allowed us to meet the wonderful people at the very big circus.
Nick, the judge is getting misty-eyed.
He's got a soft spot for sob stories, it looks like.
Ow!
No crying in court. Let's keep going. Sniffle.
The witness may proceed with his testimony.
How would you describe your relationship with the ringmaster? He was like an uncle, a father, and a big brother, all rolled up into one. The ringmaster and my little brother were the only family I had.
What about the other people at the circus?
This was over 15 years ago. Back then, there were a few customers coming in, so no one really had time to look after us. They were worried about other things. But the ringmaster, he would always come to see us with a laugh and a smile.
What a beautiful story.
That's why I was always thinking of what I could do to help. I wanted to thank him.
Nick, isn't Acro such a wonderful person?
I know, he seems like a nice guy, which is what makes this so difficult.
So then, how long have you been a performer?
You started off as an acrobat that early of an age? I begged the ringmaster until he finally agreed to let me do it. Ever since then, I've been in incredible physical shape. It's also when I decided to form a group with my brother. We called ourselves the Flying Dingleberries. Dinglingberries, sorry. It's a household name.
I've even heard of them in Germany.
Liar. The point is that I wanted to be of some use to the circus.
I'm sorry, but the flying
Dingling brothers.
dingling berries.
Dingling
I'm sorry, it
berries,
sounds so
yeah.
close to dingleberry.
Yeah, I even said it by accident.
Yeah,
Dingleberg.
not to get political, but Bloomberg.
Yeah. Jeez.
Dingleberg.
Sorry, we saw a meme earlier.
Yeah.
It was like when you see another political ad, like when you're just scrolling through your day and you see yet another political ad, it's like the Timmy's dad from Fairly Odd Parents, but instead of Dingleberg, it's Bloomberg. Yeah. It's just funny.
You are truly a remarkable young man.
And the judge keeps looking at Acro almost like a proud father. Humph. Did you ever have any trouble with the ringmaster? Ow!
How could you ask such a thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Do you have some sort of fundamental misunderstanding of this witness's testimony? Or the heartfelt emotions contained within? You better think about this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You better think hard.
Ow! Ow, 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 ow!
No matter how you look at it, there's no way I could see this witness ever taking the victim's life.
Perhaps it was an accident that he killed him instead of Regina. That seems a little bit more likely. Given that I don't think he really necessarily has that much of a thing against Max, but he seems really upset regarding the fact that, Regina's lion, the one that the ringmaster shot, was the one that basically almost killed his brother and put him into a coma because of the severe brain damage, and also ruined his life by ruining his legs. He will recover, but his brother probably won't. So yeah, I think the motive isn't against the ringmaster specifically, but Regina, who he thought was the ringmaster, or Regina whom he mistook the ringmaster for.
Because he wouldn't be able to see who's below him.
Right, so he dropped it thinking it was Regina. Turns out, oh no, it was the ringmaster.
He did put that note in Regina's pocket. She was just too stupid to realize it was for her.
Right, and she thought that somebody had lost it, so she pinned it to the board.
And then the ringmaster found it. Yeah.
I've been waiting for you to say that, Your Honor. Nick, I hate to say it, but I agree with them.
I was trying to chase down the truth, but I ended up looking like a jerk.
I think that will be enough for now. Pondering whether or not this man would kill the ringmaster leads me to believe that it is pretty unlikely.
Exactly right, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, I'd like to ask you a question.
Go ahead, Your Honor.
I would just like to know, can you provide an explanation as to why Acro would want the ringmaster dead?
Nick?
Yeah, I didn't even have to think about it. It was obvious from the start. Your Honor, the reason that Acro killed the ringmaster is something that can't be proven.
What?
That's because Acro had no reason to kill the ringmaster at all. Ow!
Your foolish attempts to fool us like foolish fools is so full-heartedly foolish. Did you forget? You made an accusation against this witness, did you not? I believe it was, this is the real killer of Russell Berry, ringmaster.
If you want to jump to the end of things, then yes, that sounds about right.
The end of things?
Acro, you didn't plan to kill the ringmaster at all, did you? The ringmaster wasn't your target that night.
What did you just say?
I'm saying that the target of the witness's murderous plot was not the ringmaster. Because it was never his intention to kill Russell Berry to begin with.
What?
Order! Order! Bailiff, I don't care who it is, smack anyone who's loud in the face. Twice if you must.
Damn.
Mr. Wright, what in the world are you trying to do to my court? Ow!
Mr. Phoenix Wright, what in the world are you trying to do to his court? Are you attempting to imply that Acro was trying to kill someone else?
You are right on the money.
Regina Berry?
This young girl is the ringmaster's daughter, correct?
Acro, you were really aiming for her that night, weren't you?
You don't need to answer that. It's a mean-spirited leading question.
You could easily answer this question. If I'm wrong, all he has to do is say you're wrong. That's it.
That's it. Huh, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Enough. Mr. Wright, allow me to... Ow!
The only thing allowed to interrupt me is death itself. Huh? And that goes for you too, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Show me evidence, now! I want to know why Acro would want to kill Regina Berry.
Yes, me too. I demand to see some proof. Present evidence that proves Acro was out to kill this young girl. Alright, Mr. Wright.
At this point, the only thing that's important is evidence.
This better not be a bluff. You're not going to... Ow!
You're not going to fool me, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Those two are finishing each other's sentences now.
Okay, I was
That's
wrong.
not the scarf. It must be a special bond between Whipper and Wit.
My patience is wearing thin, Mr. Wright.
I think you went out.
I think you're supposed to present his brother.
Present his brother?
That's my guess. Well,
Nope.
it's not the brother.
Nope. Maybe the lion?
That's the only other connection to Regina I can think of.
I keep forgetting to save. Oh well, I'll just present the line, and if that's wrong, then I can load earlier, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, well, that didn't work.
That's not the lion?
That's enough. This course sees no reason to further prolong the straw, nor is there any reason to sell the kiss missing Mr. Billy Bob's dreams.
Well,
Well, we lost.
time to reload a save.
Yep.
Ah, Kitty, you're getting too close to the microphone.
Well, I tried to let you out, but you didn't seem to want to go out, so I don't know what you want.
Goodness.
Game over.
Oh, I just... okay.
When did I last save?
That's a good question.
Oh, well. Okay, well, time to skip through this.
You want to...
Yeah, I'll pause the episode.
We'll be back.
Okay, we're back.
Yep. And we just saved.
Yep. We think it's probably the note.
Oh, yep.
Wait, why did I take damage? I just realized I had...
3 bars from earlier in the day before the recess.
Oh, okay.
When we were like, something about the bust not being correct. Or the bust was the thing, but we used it at the wrong time.
Ah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Acro, you remember this, don't you? It's a piece of paper that we found in the ringmaster's tailcoat.
Inside the victim's tailcoat?
Acro wrote this note. It is ironically entitled "To the Murderer." Its purpose was to call out someone to the plaza at 10 p.m.
So you're saying that he called Russell Berry with that note?
Yes, but there's one little problem.
Problem?
Acro did indeed place a note into someone's pocket. However, that someone was not the ringmaster.
You mean...
You mean it wasn't for the...
Von Karma, you were right there? Or your voice got a little,
Silence!
Ow! That's exactly what I mean. The person this note was intended for was none other than Regina Berry.
Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, this little theory of yours.
It's the truth, Your Honor. It isn't a theory. Simply put, Regina didn't think the note was meant for her. Which is why, the morning of the crime, she placed it on the cafeteria bulletin board.
That's when her father, the ringmaster, saw the note.
That's correct. The ringmaster ended up in the plaza instead of Regina. And he was killed because of that mistake, instead of Regina.
That's incredible.
Remember that the testimony that Acro gave us earlier today. Lifting the bust, looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force in my lower body. If I were able to do that, I ended up falling out the window myself. Acro had no idea who was arriving at the plaza, but because he couldn't look down out of his window to see who it actually was.
I've got it. Acro thought it was Regina down in the plaza.
And that's when he let the bust fly.
Hey, Nick. Isn't Regina listening to all of this from the audience?
She is, unfortunately. It's only going to get harsher from here.
I hope Regina can handle it.
Acro wrote this note to Regina.
Foolishly foolish fool with foolishly foolish fool ideas of foolish tomfoolery. You're so foolish you've even made me sound like a foolhardy fool. Very well, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If you're so sure, then tell us about this line. I have conclusive evidence of what took place.
Yes? What about that line?
Well, if the note was meant for Regina Barry, it would mean that this note is declaring that Regina Barry is a murderer.
You just don't get it, do you?
What? What did you just say?
The ringmaster knew what that note meant, which is why he went to the plaza, in place of his lovely daughter.
Hold it right there, Mr. Wright. What is this incident that is alluded to in the note?
The incident 6 months ago. I'll answer that in the next episode.
Damn it.
See you guys then.
Bye.